Welcome to Classes of Mail. Before you listen, you should know that Alan Gigax is not in any sense an official spokesman for the post office, the NALC, or anybody else. His opinions are inherently his own and should probably be disregarded. Same for his guests. Any information you hear on this podcast could be wrong and should not be relied upon for any reason. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Classes of Mail. My name is Alan Gigax, and we're going to get right into it. I have a special guest today, Bill Kriebel. He is the president of Branch 254 in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And Bill, say hello to the audience.
Hello, everybody. Alan, thank you for having me on Classes of a Mail. I know we've been talking about getting on for a minute there, but I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak.
Dude, I'm glad to have you. And I am stoked that I managed for maybe the first time ever to scoop next generation carriers. I got you on here before they got you. So eat it, John Murphy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I was just talking to him earlier today. I love that guy. All right.
Yeah, he's good.
So you are the president of Branch 254 in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. How long have you been president there?
I am on my second term. So 4 years. I started as a shop steward about 10 years ago. Worked my way up to vice president. Was vice president for 3 years, and then I moved into the president role.
What happened to the old president? You didn't off him, did you?
No, he actually retired.
Okay.
He actually retired and just walked away from everything. So
okay, so you were kind of the next person up, right? I got you. So it was a smooth transition.
I had to run.
You said. Yeah.
Well, I had to run against somebody, so I never had. I never was not by acclamation. I always had to run against somebody to get the positions.
Right on, and obviously your branch likes you. They re-elected you. And so they must have liked what was happening. And we talked about it a little bit before we started to record, but I had put out a call to like, hey, I'm going to interview Bill Kriebel, who is in that area, who I can talk to. And dude, the praise, the universal praise that you got from people in your area, it was really impressive. And then they also had things to say about the business agent who is the current business agent. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, you can kind of get a sense of somebody's leadership style from what you're doing in your branch. So in the time that you've been a branch president, what's something that you've accomplished that you're proud of or that you hang your hat on?
There's a couple things, Alan. I think the first thing is once I took over as the union president, the finances were gone. Like we went from having a ton of money to having none. And I was unaware of that because as a vice president, I'm not looking at the bank rules.
Right.
But when I saw that, I was just like, oh, man, like I couldn't do what I wanted to do in the beginning because we probably had maybe, I'm going to say around $7,000 in the checking.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was down. And then we had like also there was like tax fines that came with it too. So like it was a mess in the beginning. So I really buckled down and we focused. I got I had appointed a treasurer to come in and assist me. She was very good at QuickBooks and the two of us together went and knocked this stuff out to now where we're actually a union with money again.
Hey.
So to me, that was huge. But I would say the one thing that really hang my hat on, Alan, is I really fought for the Article 8s, for the nons. I was a non-ODL carrier. The ODL guys really wanted their money. Like my old president was an ODL guy, so he wanted that money and he wanted he didn't care about the nons. But I was a non, so I fought that until I got it precedent setting. So like my nons get paid every time. Like forcing an Article 8s, I think I have that down to a science. So I really cling to that.
That's awesome, man. And then you can instill that in your stewards and in the people who you're training. Like this is how you stop all those violations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just always be transparent and just knock it out, teach and educate.
And it's so important too, because people do overlook the non-ODL carriers. And I've heard within my own branch, I've had people say to me, well, they already got paid overtime, so they don't need any additional grievance. And it's like, no, dude, they're violated. There is a harm.
Like, there's lists.
Yeah.
There's lists.
Right.
This guy wants to do it. This guy doesn't. So you're going to force me to go do the work and keep the guy that wants to do it sitting at home. Like, that's not an even, like, that's not, I got paid overtime, but I got to do something that I did not want to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And in a way, like, you can never be made whole for that. You know, you miss your kid's soccer practice or something. You can't go back and get that time back. Yeah. Right. Dude, well done, man. That's really cool. And that's important to our listeners for sure. So what about being a branch president? Well, you had already mentioned like the finances were really tough when you first came in. What about from like a leadership perspective? What has been difficult or more tougher than you thought it might be?
The one thing from the president role, I mean, obviously there's all kinds of curveballs that comes with being a union official, but the one, I had a shop steward. And we had an issue with the shop steward, and the way that the shop steward handled that to us was bad. Like he got disruptive, he got aggressive, and it just wasn't a good situation. It got to the point where I had to remove his duties from him.
Oh, wow.
And that was a hard thing for me to do, because like, how do you tell somebody that wants to go fight the fight that you can't fight the fight no more? But it was that bad. Like, I had to really put him into perspective and say, look, man, this is what you're doing and this is how you can fix this. And he went, and it took 1.5 years to get it fixed, but it got fixed. And that guy's a good shop steward for me. Like, he does the fight. So
yeah, as a union officer, you're always fighting to not get people fired, and then to turn around and essentially have to fire somebody. Dude, that's really tough. But dude, that's good too that you were able to work with him and eventually get him back in that position.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it took time, but I got there with them, and we're all good.
Right. So I heard in talking to other people, I didn't know this about your bio, but other people said that just like James Henry, you served in the Marine Corps. Is that right?
Yeah. I was in 0311. I served during Desert Storm. The Marine Corps is huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You certainly know plenty of Marines. So what is 0311? What is that MOS?
That's an infantry rifleman.
Oh, okay.
I was pretty much pretty much go out there and shoot.
Yeah, dude. All right.
That's killed.
Every Marine is a rifleman first. You were a rifleman all the way through. A full on rifleman.
There's no turning around.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Hey, you could drop me in the middle of nowhere and I'll probably find my way out. I'll survive.
Right. All right. Hey, so you're running for business agent in Region 12, which is Pennsylvania and New Jersey, but not all of New Jersey, right?
Yeah, it kind of splits like around Tom's River, like in the middle of the state. So Region 15 would take over the other half of the
right, like the northern half of the state.
Correct.
I got you. Okay, so one of the people that I talked to is a president in New Jersey. I actually talked to two, and they said that like some of the stuff from New Jersey, even though it's in Region 12, that it winds up being handled by like RAAs or arbitration advocates from Region 15. Are you familiar with that issue?
Yeah, I do see some of that. I always look at the advocates that go into arbitration and stuff like that, or even the Step Bs. Sometimes it ventures off of our own region. I don't understand why.
Yeah. The person I talked to who was in that part of New Jersey wasn't stoked about their stuff always, getting handled by Region 15. They're like, dude, it's in 12. 12 should handle it. All right, so we'll get into some of your plans here in a minute. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. But for now, the current business agent in Region 12 is Brian Thompson. And at the last election, nobody ran against him. He won by acclamation. And from what I've heard from people in the region, he is totally lockstep Brian Renfro. Like, he's one of the good old boys.
Yeah. 100%. He was for the contract.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he
that tells it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's definitely he was appointed in because Napadano used to be our business agent, Dave Napadano, and then Brian took over when Dave retired, and then nobody ran against Brian in the last election.
Right. Yeah, because for a long time it was just next man up. People were essentially anointed into their positions. And it's really not until this social media with podcasts, with other avenues of information, that other candidates like you can get their name out, get their message out. And hopefully that's what's going to turn this union and get fresh blood in there. So do you know, has he announced if he's running again, or is it known?
Yeah, it's known that he's running again. He actually, at the state convention in, I think it was October, November, we were out at Lancaster. He actually was handing out his re-elect Brian Thompson buttons. So that's a pretty good indication.
That is, yes, running. Indeed.
I mean, well, obviously we're going to have this conversation about the Constitution and what lays with that, because once you come out and you say you're running,
right,
then I should have equal time to speak.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Yeah, that is an issue. All right, so you, this is only audio, but I can see in the Zoom that you have the CLC bullseye background that everybody in the CLC has. So you're obviously hooked in with the CLC, and that's a big part of why you're on the show, because I too am a CLC endorser. So how did you hook up with the CLC? How did that happen?
Well, it wasn't by choice. I wasn't like I was out stalking the CLC to go do this. So it was right around the time that they formed. I went to Formal A and Beyond training down at the Maritime.
Okay.
And when I was there, Richie Ray was in my class. And then I also have another friend named Keith Slusall and Ron Speakman were people that were talking in my ear about this, because they thought that I was qualified to do this position.
Right.
But, you know, when I was sitting down at the Formal A and Beyond, I had conversations with James. We sat down a couple times and spoke. And the biggest hang up for me was my wife, because not a lot of people know, but I have a handicapped wife with MS. So like I have to handle my wife. So if my wife is comfortable with me doing, because there's a lot of work that's going to be involved with being a business agent. I mean, she sees the work that I put in as a president, but being a business agent, like I'm not going to be like the business agent that we have there right now. You're going to see me.
Right.
Like I'm going to be everywhere, and people will know my name throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I mean, but I had to make sure that my wife was on board with that. So it was actually wrapped up by the time we left Formal A and Beyond. I told James that yes, I would do it, but then there was the like the vetting process. Like they like I had phone call conversations with those guys.
Right. So that's what I've noticed about CLC is the one thing. There are two things that all of the people they endorse have in common. One is the fight. You know, that you are willing to get in there, mix it up. You're not afraid of management, not even afraid of your own union, that you're willing to stand up for what you think is right. And then number two is character, that you're going to do what you believe is right. You're going to stand for what you believe is right. And I presume that that's, where you and Henry connected, not to mention both being Marines.
That was a big part of it, the Marine Corps part of it, because I have that brotherhood with Marines. Like I've said this before on other podcasts, that the Marine Corps brotherhood to me is huge, because I know what we went through in the Marine Corps. Like the post office is a completely different monster than the military, because in the military, if that guy acted out of character, we're dead. So like it's a big difference. Like I don't understand why the people in a lot of people in the post office seem to take themselves down these paths that, like I got to go rat on this guy, or the what about me character people and stuff like that. Like I don't understand that in the post office. Like we're all on the same team. We should all be fighting together.
Yeah, absolutely. And the difficulty that we've run into is that we have people in these leadership positions who don't want to fight. We have presidents who say, oh, I don't think that's a grievance. They don't want to take it up, or business agents that won't follow up. And so am I hearing from you that as a business agent, you will be backing up these grievances that yes, let it come to me and I'm going to fight your grievance?
100%.
All right.
100%.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, all you can do, Alan, is fight. I mean, if we lose, then you learn from the loss and you come back and you fight again.
Yeah, and generally, and Corey talks about this all the time, that if you lose that grievance, you don't really lose anything, because management is already doing that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like start times are a good example. In my branch, I've been told, oh, start time isn't even a grievance. And I'm like, dude, file it anyway, because even if we lose, they already done changed our start times.
Yeah.
And so you might as well fight. And then, dude, if you win, then you get like an out of schedule pay and things get pretty sweet after that. But anyway.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got to get into your platform. So on your Facebook page, Bill Kriebel for Region 12 Business Agent, or it's something like that. Do you know the title off the top of your head? What is it?
It's William Kriebel, 26, CLC candidate. It's on Facebook.
Okay.
You could go on the Facebook page and it'll pull it up. I'm sure if you start writing my name in there, it'll pull the whole
That's
thing
how
up.
I found it. I put in Kriebel, the spelling of your last name, and it came right up. So... right on. Okay, so on that page, you have a platform. And I want to talk to you about some of the things in your platform because it looks like any other platform, like it's kind of broad, and I want to dig in a little bit. So I like the way you have it laid out, where you say the first 90 days, the first 6 months, and the first year. So these are tangible goals, which a lot of platforms don't have. You know, they just have these vague ideas, but you're like, dude, by this time, this is what I'm going to get done. So I really like that. So in the first 90 days, your first point is initiate communication with all branch presidents, setting a weekly or monthly meeting cadence and beginning monthly updates to all members. So my question about this, I assume business agents already meet with presidents. That's kind of part of their job. But as far as reaching the members, like what form does that take? What is that going to look like?
Well, it's a great question. There's obviously you're going to have the Zoom meetings monthly with your president,
right?
But I also feel that there should be a meeting with the shop stewards once a month because I want to make sure that the presidents are doing their job to make sure that the shop stewards are educated. Because believe it or not, Alan, there's a lot of shop stewards that don't even know what an 8190 is. Oh, that should never be.
I believe it. I know that for a fact. Yeah.
So with that being said, next thing I want to do is I want to create, I would say once a quarter, but I would want to bring on rank and file and do a rank and file meeting once a quarter. Pull it into Zoom, have them all come on. It's not a bash session to come out and say, you guys ain't doing this, you guys ain't doing that. I want to know what's going on the work floor. Because if the rank and file start telling me stuff that the shop stewards should be handling, so like it's a chain of command.
Yep.
So we want to make sure everybody's doing their job. So I would have these meetings. I think that with the rank and file, it would be good to have one once a quarter. I don't think nobody does that because, you know, they don't look at them.
I know it doesn't happen in Region 1. I can guarantee you that. And yeah, that would be incredibly valuable. I would love to be able to get those issues seen. And exactly to your point, you know, in somebody's own station, you're at the mercy of whoever that steward is. And if the steward doesn't feel like filing that grievance, then you're kind of stuck. And so having this pipeline, it's really valuable. All right.
Right.
The next is develop initial materials for the new education system, including virtual and in-person training schedules. I love the idea of the virtual training. So like in my own branch, we're having route inspections, which is happening everywhere. And so we have this branch-wide route inspection training is happening at our union hall. The problem is for some people, it's like a half-hour drive to get to the hall, an hour and a half of training, a half-hour drive to get home. And there are people, because they've got kids, because they have a wife who's disabled like you have, you know, whatever it is, they can't spend 2.5 hours after work going to do this. And so it needs to have this online component. So tell me about how you plan to approach that and to make this training more accessible.
Well, education is very important to me. Like as my own branch, we don't have the capabilities for the virtual trainings yet. I do all the trainings in-house. I try to put some of that stuff up on our platforms to help people out as well with their trainings.
Okay.
We don't, because of the money factor. Once I first took over, that would have been an expense that that's that want and need factor. Like I want that, but I can't have that. But that is something I definitely want to implement into moving forward. Because now that I got through all those hurdles, a virtual training is excellent. I mean, it's got to be regulated and monitored because obviously you don't want management coming on there.
Dude, I would love it if management learned this stuff too. Maybe they'd stop violating the contract so much.
866 million. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, that's wild.
But that's how I would do more trainings, but I think that there needs to be more actual on-hand training. Like we have one wrap session. I believe that there should be more than one wrap session. I mean, I guess there's a budget that comes with the business agents and how they do it. But look, our job as a business agent is to educate.
Yeah.
So there needs to be more. Like when you look at Region 12, you have Pennsylvania. Most of everything we do is down in Atlantic City because it's right near the Philly and like all that kind of ties together and they can house all of us. But the challenge is, Alan, is the people that are on the western side of Pennsylvania that are 8 hours away, that can't afford to go to Atlantic City, they need to be trained. So if that means that we have to pop Zoom meetings up to train the people that are in the installations that can't make those trainings, that's where the virtual trainings come into play.
Yep.
Because what good is the steward if you don't know what to do?
Dude, 100%. And, I will acknowledge that like an online training isn't necessarily as effective as in person, but in many cases, it's the option of online training or no training at all. And so, yeah, you have to meet people where they are. Yeah. And so I've interviewed Rob Cozier and I've interviewed Paul Bollinger. And, they seem on board with the same thing that, yes, we have to reach people. We have to have this online aspect of it. And so it seems like you guys are all going to be on the same page in that, which is fantastic.
Yeah, because you have technology. Let's use it. I mean, we didn't have this stuff when we were kids.
Right. Maybe that'll take some of the pressure off of classes of mail to get all this training out because the union will actually be doing it. I mean, that's why the podcast had to exist. I've said from the beginning of classes of mail that for carriers, this isn't on the outline that we talked about, but I want to talk about it. When a carrier gets hired, they have 4 days of a carrier academy. They have 3 days of on-the-job instruction. And then the next time that carrier gets any sort of intensive training is never. There is no training, no follow-up training for regular rank and file carriers. Do you have any plan? I mean, you're going to have this feedback from carriers on the workroom floor. Do you have any plans to educate non-stewards?
Well, the rank and file meeting back, like we spoke about with the meetings, would be a part of that. But they also go through, I believe, an orientation program that's after they're done.
When they make career.
Once they make it, when they make career. That would be the next time that they actually get that. But for the most part, with the new guys that come in, like I go into the academy. The academy is actually right next to my office. So I make a point to go in there and speak with the academy every week.
That's awesome.
Even if they're not my own people, like I tell them that, hey, I see those presidents out there and I'll go up to them and say, hey, you got a couple good people coming in your class. I spoke with them in the thing. And like I try to talk to them about 60 days, making sure you put a hold down on a route to kind of get that schedule going.
Absolutely.
In 90 days, get your uniforms and then basically practice your casing, because that's the one thing that they'll never get, like because they bring them in later.
Yeah.
Yep,
that is absolutely true. Okay, so I'll tell you, I'm not hearing much about continuing education for carriers, which I get. I don't get that from really any candidates. So I want to put that on your radar. That at least some of the problems that we have as carriers come from this lack of training and this lack of continuing education. So I know all the focus is on stewards. So I'm asking you, as somebody who's an academy instructor myself, don't forget about just rank and file carriers.
Absolutely. So like just to piggyback on that, that's
please.
why that rank and file meeting is good. But as a president, you want to get your people to come to the meetings, because really the most of the education you do is inside your branch meetings. And you get those new people to come there. When they come in my meetings, I make them stand up, introduce themselves. They get all nervous and stand up for a second. But if the president's educating inside the meetings, that's where they're going to pick up trainings as it goes on. I mean, like steward trainings, but the most part for just plain old rank and file people, that's why I want to create that once a quarter meeting with them to help them.
Yeah, that is definitely key. And that's also where like they can get their questions answered. There are a lot of stuff that, I mean, I get asked these really involved, interesting questions as the host of Classes of Mail, and people turn to me because they don't have someone like offering what you're offering, and so dude, I'm with you. I think that's really important. That's worthwhile.
Another part too, Alan, my vice president and I will get the CCAs together. Like I usually wait for about 6 months or something, but we'll have like a meeting where we bring them all into the hall. Like I'll get some pizzas and throw them out there for them. And then we ask them kind of like what you got going on.
That's cool.
And that way we can, and they'll tell me all the challenges that they're having. And then I kind of talk them through their challenges. So we don't neglect them, because obviously we want to retain them.
Of course.
Yeah. That's the name of the game, because they're our help.
Of course. Yeah. And they're the future of our union.
Correct.
Yep. Right on. That's awesome. Okay. So now we'll go on to the first 6 months. So roll out the grievance process enhancement and the DRT task force updates. So when you say grievance process enhancements, what sort of enhancements are you talking about?
I say stop settling for less.
Dude.
I mean, we're going to start right there, because I don't know what's going on with the Step B teams. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm not in that position to see the factual portions of it. But what happened to like a Debbie Dixon and an Orlando Gonzalez on my slate? They're people that worked in business agents' office, and we have a meeting every Wednesday night, all of us MBAs that are on this slate, and we discuss these type of things about what's going on. What are you in charge of? How does this work? The biggest thing that I see as a president is that the Step B is not moving like it should, because it should be like a 14-day window that stuff's sitting there. Right. Dude, we're like at 6 months. We have impasses over a year. Like, that's a problem. Of course. So I don't know if it's something being facilitated from national that's blocking that from going through. But the way I look at it right now, Alan, the management side of it is beating us. Yeah. And it shouldn't be that way. So my plan is we're going to have to do more arbitrations. We're going to have to do more pre-arbs, bring that stuff up. Like, don't settle for less. If you know that we have, like, look, we get frivolous grievances that kind of trickle through the system and stuff like that. But if I got somebody's job on the line and you believe 100% as an advocate that we can win that, well, then why are we remanding it back? Or why are we settling that to give a guy discipline? Let's fight it. Send it up. Because if we lose, now we know what we need to do. We got that language to figure out how to win. Right,
exactly. And so the presidents who I talked to in New Jersey essentially echoed what you're saying, that they said, we're really tired of these grievances going up to Step B. And A, it takes forever to get them settled. And B, when the settlements come back, they're watered down. And it feels like they're just pushing them through just to try to get them off the slate,
It seems like that sometimes, but it doesn't help us as people fighting the fight, like that kind of like log jams everything.
Yeah. Well, that is true, but that's where you need, more help. And I mean, as far as I know, Renfro still has not done like the national level grievance on getting more Step B teams activated, right? Like he's still
he should be on that, because they are. I mean, like, we went from what it was like 16,000. It went from 8, I think, when James was in charge of that.
Right.
Then it went to like 16, and now it's up to like it's probably like 49,000. I look at the advocates that we put into play to go fight these fights once we go up there. And I look at my regions, because I'm an analytical guy. I'm a sports guy. So like my wife says, you can remember Pete Rose's bat matter, but you don't know that, so I can retain this stuff. But like our percentage on winning is lower than what the denied states are in the arbitration process. So we're losing. Okay. That whole system's losing right now. That has to get a lot better.
Yeah.
There's no more cease and desist. Like, these things in the Step B need to come back, because look, what does cease and desist mean now? It means to stop.
Yeah, and don't do it anymore. That's right.
And that's not happening.
And the whole idea behind a grievance, it's not so much like, we want to get the carrier paid. It's more, we want management to stop violating the contract. And when you look on the workroom floor, it's clearly not working. Management is continually violating the contract, and whatever consequences there are, they're not good enough. Management keeps doing it.
Yeah. There's no repercussions for their actions. We need to start holding them account. That's about accountable.
That's it. That's exactly right. All right. So you have on here also in the 6 months, initiate the first series of grievance starters focused on safety and health violations. So this is definitely something that's overlooked. It's all like Article 8, and I get that the safety and health is kind of backburnered. So first, let's look at this angle of it. How would those grievance starters get to the carriers that need them? Like, as far as I can tell, Region 12 doesn't have a website. So how do you get this in the hands of the people who need it?
How I would do it myself is I'm going to create zip drives. I believe in 2012 at the Minnesota State, the National, I believe, Fred Rolando handed out every person that came in there zip drives that had grievance starters.
Oh, like a thumb drive, right?
Yeah, like a thumb drive. So when I went to Formal A and beyond, I got a thumb drive.
There it is. It's in his hand, It
has every grievance file on it known to man. And
Right.
and then obviously you create more to go with the flow of what they're throwing at the wall.
Yeah.
But I would do the same thing like we did in 2012 in Minnesota at our rap sessions, because obviously these things want to go in the hands of the shop stewards. You want to make sure your shop stewards have these because they're the first line of defense.
Yeah.
I would give them out. They would be a part of your welcoming packet to the rap sessions. If they don't get them at the rap sessions, then I'm going to come to your station and hand them to you. But I'll get it in every hand to every person that needs it in this region. Look, the more people that can fight the fight out, the easier the job is for me.
That's exactly right. And in many cases, branch presidents or branch officers will act as gatekeepers, and they'll be like, well, that information has to come through me. And it sounds like as an MBA, you're going to just open that door and make this stuff directly accessible, and that's key. The more people have the training, the more people have the information, the stronger we are as a union.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, that's cool. Now we go on to the first year, and we have expand training to reach more members. Okay, that's good. It didn't say stewards, it says members, so I like that. All right, so to reach more members and refine the accountability and discipline framework based on feedback and observed need. Oh, dude, you've actually already answered this question, because my question was, how do you intend to get feedback? And you've said you're going to have Zooms where like just a regular carrier can get on and talk to you.
Absolutely. You roll it out right through there. And the other part too, Alan, real quick, we kind of skipped it with the Region 12 not having an online presence. That's something I do plan on taking care of, because like when you have like where Philadelphia's having a march or Pittsburgh's doing something big or something like that, wouldn't it be great if we just had a website where everybody could go see all this and know where they're going?
Yeah. And then that's also, a convenient way to check in, like what are the big issues in the region? What kind of nonsense is management trying to pull? I mean, there's 1,000 reasons why something like that is needed. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that with Bill Kriebel in that office, the communication is going to be open. And there will be a clearinghouse. That's fantastic. All right. So I try to keep my episodes around a half hour, and I'm already past that. So I got to get to some of these other questions. So one of the criticisms that I've seen leveled against you, and this is always going to be a criticism of a challenger, is he doesn't have the experience. He's a president of a small branch. He's never been in arbitration. So how do you respond to that?
Well, when it comes down to the Leadership Academy, I do have trainings. Like I'm advanced OWCP trained.
Nice.
I am a formally and beyond trained branch officers training. Like I've done the key ones to get my branch to move. But as far as the Leadership Academy goes, like I've put in for that many times. And for whatever reason, the way that the NALC operates, you have trustees and secretaries getting in there before presidents. Yeah. But when I tell people when it comes down to the Leadership Academy, I'm a United States Marine.
Right.
I'm a leader.
You got leadership.
I've always been a leader. Right. I have leadership skills. I lead my branch every day. Right. As far as this is the part that's wild. When it comes down to Step B training or advocate to arbitration, I have my applications put in there, but my business agent won't fill his portion of that application out and send that up.
Isn't it funny how that works?
Because I don't. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's kind of like that blacklisting thing that's going on.
Dude, 100%.
And you know what, Alan? That was exactly why I said to myself when James Henry sat down and asked me to go do this, this is part of it. There should never be blacklisting. If you can find advocates like me that are out there that want to go do the fight and fight the fight, then who the hell are we to stop them? Let's get them in and get them trained.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because this leads into a question I had for later. So the CLC as a whole is outspoken against things like that, like the gatekeeping, like the blackballing, and these things happen typically at the branch level. So as a business agent, you're not necessarily in charge of a branch president. You're not necessarily in their chain of command, but you obviously have sway. So when that kind of stuff is happening, how do you think you will interact with a branch president to try to, end the blackballing and the gatekeeping? What can you do as a business agent? Okay.
I just could talk to them. It's just a simple conversation. If they're not putting the people forth that need to get the training, then why?
Right.
Because I see this in them. I see, I'm very good at reading people. The Marine Corps makes you very strong at that. And you could tell if somebody's blowing smoke up your ass or if they just want to try to get some easier path in life. But I'm never about blacklisting people. ever. That's got to stop. I
Even
mean, there's
with
so
the
many
guy
people.
right, even with the guy you had to remove, you worked to get him back into the fold.
Yes. I mean, yeah, because, everybody deserves a second chance, I believe. I mean, what he did, I didn't agree with, but we worked it out.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of him coming to terms of what was going on.
Right.
Like, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So it took a while.
And it's a funny thing. Like my co-host, Michael, he runs into this problem where he is a fighter. It's who he is. Mm-hmm. He's what a therapist would call a right fighter, that if he thinks he's right, he's just going to keep going at it. And that can be really off-putting to people. And, it's caused conflicts between like him and our branch office where they think it's not a grievance and he does. And so that's it. You're out. But it sounds like with you, and with the CLC in general, like they're fighters. And yeah, it's off-putting to some people. Like, wow, this guy's really a handful and he's kind of crazy. But it's like, yeah, that's who we need fighting for us.
The CLC, James Henry, Corey, all of us, Kamicha, we're all about the letter carrier. Yeah. We're all about fighting for the letter carrier because we believe in our rights. Right. Somewhere we this big gray cloud came over us and it kind of like stopped everything that we were fighting for. But leaving with James, Alan, like James is one of the most humble, really good integrity and is transparent with everything he does. Like, you don't see him out there bashing people left and right. You see him out there trying to help people. Yeah. And that's what we need in a leader. He's willing to lead. As a group, as the CLC, we all operate as a group. We have meetings and we discuss stuff as a whole. Like I was telling you earlier, I don't know if we did it on here, if it was before it, but like my MBAs, all the MBAs on the slate, we have a meeting every Wednesday night. We do it with Richie Ray. Richie Ray's still a part of us. And we discuss stuff. So that MBA group that we have, think of this. We have meetings every Wednesday night. Think about how close group we are. We're all on the same page.
Okay, well, that brings up one of the biggest criticisms of the CLC. It's not so much a criticism, it is a fear. And I want to address it. So I wrote the question. I'm going to read the question as it's written because I want to make sure I cover this stuff. Okay, Renfro was elected with a slate. And that slate became the executive council. The members of that slate have acted as a rubber stamp, giving Renfro free rein even when he's clearly violating the NALC Constitution. There are concerns with the slate that James Henry and the CLC is putting together that they'll behave in the same way as yes men for anything Henry wants to do. If you're elected, you'll be part of that executive council. What do you say to people who are worried that the new boss will be just like the old boss?
I would go tell those people to go up to Corey Walton and ask him if he's a yes man.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, none of us are yes men. None of us. And James doesn't ever put us in a position that where we have to feel like we're yes men. Like I said before, we have talks. We're like a family. Right. We just happen to be all different people from different areas of the United States that are ready to go fight the fight. We're done being complacent. We want to be aggressive. And we don't want to see our union being swept away from us, something that we fought so hard to get. Like right now, we're losing stuff. We're losing it rapidly. If you think that a 1.3% raise and losing cease and desist and all that's good, then you just stick with the plan that's going in place. But for us, we don't like that. We think that the letter carrier should have everything.
Yeah, I'm with you. And this is why I'm a CLC endorser and supporter and financial contributor because
thanks.
You bet. So when you have a mentality of, I just got to keep my head down and go along, because like they're afraid of retaliation, rightly afraid of retaliation from Renfro. And so you get these people in positions of power that the way they get there is by keeping their head down, not making waves, and not fighting. And you look at the other end of what the CLC is gathering together, and these are all people who are doing the exact opposite. Like David Groskopf, I've asked him the same question. And National told him no about fighting the SNDC in Buffalo. And he's like, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway.
And yeah, my man Dave Strong.
Yes, exactly. And so, dude, the way you answer that question is like, look at Corey and ask him if he's a yes man. No, he is not. And those are the kind of people that when you are a strong leader, you don't need yes men because you're not afraid of being challenged.
Right.
And that's what I love about the CLC. That's what I'm hearing from you. And Bill, I'm rooting for you, man.
Thanks, brother.
You bet. Give your pitch one more time. Remind people, what they can do if they want to support you, what they can do if they want to support the CLC.
You can reach out to concernedlettercarriers.com. There's an endorsement spot on there. If you want to go on there, you can sign up as an endorser. Don't cost nothing. Mm-hmm. That'll put you in our email threads. It will let you know when we're having events and stuff like that. The Facebook, we have our Facebook page. You could go on there. You could go on my Facebook page, which is William Kriebel, 26 CLC candidate. You can just jump up on there. I put pictures up when I'm booking around. I go to some stations and speak with people or anything. This is how you reach out to us. Any one of us will call you back. You could call any one of us CLC guys at any time. I'm a mail carrier.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that I actually carry mail.
I can't believe we forgot to cover this. Yes. Yeah. In fact, so one of the questions I had prepared in the interview is, how are you going to keep in touch with what's going on the workroom floor? When's the last time you actually carried the mail? When was it?
It was like 2 hours ago. Well, it's more than that now.
Right.
I'm in the elements with everybody. That's the good thing with me because I see what the challenges are on the work floor. I don't have a small branch. I mean, I'm not a big branch, but I'm not a small branch. I deal with the same stuff that everybody across the United States is dealing with. And I carry mail. Like I'm in that snowstorm with you. I put a picture of me up on there and people were like, wow, you actually carry mail? Yeah, I carry mail every day. Plus I'm a president on top of that. I have to stop and then do the president role because man, if you're stuck in the snow or something and a supervisor ain't answering their phone, I'm the guy that goes and gets on their ass to go get my people unstuck because nobody deserves to sit out in the freezing cold for like 3 hours.
Right.
So
that's awesome,
I'm a part of it.
All right, Bill, you have my support. I really appreciate you coming on. And I think that's all we have for today.
Alan.
You bet it. All right. So everybody, that's all we got for today. Thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you all next time.